All right, and then let's talk about this too, because this was interesting. There's been a lot of back and forth online at the moment about MMT. This is the modern monetary theory, which argues that the government does not need to tax for the sake of spending. Specifically, the U.S. government, I think they would carry this theory out to other countries that have sovereignty over their own currency to some degree. But in the context of the United States, that their argument is that there's a role for taxes, but it isn't to allow the government to spend. That spending happens first, taxation happens second. And here is Larry Summers, and this is interesting. He's on CNBC, arguing that MMT theory is just bunk and dangerous.
Yes, fiscal policy is a very important tool, and whenever the next recession comes, we're going to need a lot of fiscal stimulus. But this modern monetary theory idea where we can guarantee jobs for everybody or have Medicare for all and just rely on money printing to finance it, I think that's quite a dangerous approach, and I'm sorry to see that it's gaining more adherence. What my column points out is that it's sort of the new voodoo economics, that there was a valid idea 40 years ago that taxes had incentive effects, which got transmuted into the invalid idea that you could cut taxes in order to raise revenue. The Laffer curve, supply side economics, all of that turned out to be very costly, and it had to be reversed when the United States tried it. And I think something very similar is true with respect to modern monetary theory.
Well, first off, I don't think it's been reversed. That it has had quite a bit of durability, that idea, based upon the last set of tax cuts we just got. What I think the value of modern monetary theory is that Larry Summers is afraid that it's going to bring about these social benefits, and that worst case scenario, I guess they'll have to figure out a way of paying for it. But here's Stephanie Kelton, one of the adherents to MMT, where she says, Larry says it's dangerous to say that the government can just print the money. Was it dangerous when Alan Greenspan said it in August of 2011, when Warren Buffett said it, when Joe Stiglitz said it, or when Larry Summers apparently said it? She goes on to say, no one is saying that because the U.S. can print the money that we can spend on Medicare for All, Job Guarantee, Green New Deal without ever raising taxes. That's not MMT. I don't know where you got that impression, but it's not MMT. We are simply noting that the federal government is not revenue constrained, and that the way we currently approach the federal budgeting process is restricting our potential. In other words, she's saying taxes in the context of MMT play an economic role insofar as the intention is to limit possible inflation. If the economy gets overheated, you take some money off the board, essentially, by taxing. A significant number of MMTers also support confiscatory taxing, to deal with things like inequality. But that's more of a political decision, I think, rather than an economic one. Although I think you could probably argue that from an economic perspective, it makes it more efficient. There's been a lot of attacks on MMT. I am not necessarily a strict adherent, although I've yet to see a critique that I think is that tackles it head on. Doug Henwood had one in Jacobin, and I was a little disappointed in it, frankly, because most of it was about the intellectual history of the theory and the pedigree of the people who support it, and not a terribly robust like analysis of it from an economic perspective. I don't pretend to understand, monetary theory that well, but I can sort of read and understand when someone is addressing a specific theory. And I just didn't see it happen there. And I was a little disappointed, frankly, because I'm curious about that. I mean, I think
you should have him on
to talk about it. I mean, frankly, like I was just assessing the piece, and I don't, like I say, I don't feel like I know enough about monetary policy to refute assertions, but I just...
Or just like ask him whatever questions you had reading the article or whatever you thought was missing.
Well, they were assertions, and there was no evidence behind that as far as I could tell. And 3/4 of the piece, I mean, are literally about the people who propose this stuff.